Welcome back to the YouTube channel, friends. Well, I hope you can hear me because I live across the street from a park and they like to go up like every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And specifically this Sunday, when I'm recording this video, it is like crazy, but I need the natural light. So hopefully you can hear me. Maybe we can edit this audio a little bit more, but hello. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Tay. For those who do know me, welcome back. I've advertised myself or said that like I'm your favorite New York City event planner girly, but truthfully, I'm just a girl in her 30s living in New York City who is also an event producer and a lot of other things. So if you're here joining, this channel is pretty much for like the girls that are just trying to travel, have fun, yap a little, talk about where we're at and what's going on, and just relate to one another because like, listen girls, I feel you. And this video is gonna be very specific to one thing. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, we might have to switch locations because they just started playing Usher. Like, come on, like I'm never gonna get no good audio in this. You know what, this is real life. So we're gonna do this, we're gonna talk, and this is gonna work. But I wanted to talk to you all about like confidence, okay? Because I turned 30 and it's like my confidence took a left, went somewhere, and like I didn't really know where it went. And from what everyone else tells me, like turning 30 is supposed to be a time frame where you're like, you know, your confidence skyrockets, you don't give a fuck about anything, like life is great, yada, yada, yada. And like personally, I just didn't really feel that way. And I don't know, like I turned 30 last November, and throughout my 20s, I've always been like a super ambitious girl. Like I bought a house in my 20s. I like went through different jobs. I got my dream job. I, you know, started posting content on the internet, on YouTube, and I was like interviewing people. And I was really like, I look back at 20s Tay and I'm like, wow. I'm so proud of that girl. Like she was really out here just fighting to do anything and everything. And when I look back at like the content I created, the events I did, like things I participated in, I feel like this immense, like overpowering feeling of being proud of myself. And I'm like, wow, that girl really did that. And I think going into my 30s, like life became a little bit, not mundane, but like maybe slower, or I just felt like something at 30 was not like what I thought it was gonna be, which was like everything was gonna click, it was gonna make sense, and I was gonna move forward. But I could tell specifically how it was impacting my confidence. And I realized like, you know, I'm an avid goer of therapy. I've been in my therapist sessions. I've been building like a team over the last year. I have a tax lady, I have a finance manager, I have therapists, I have a business coach. Like I'm doing the whole nine because I'm like, I'm going into 30. I want to make sure that I'm going down the right path that I think is right for me. And like, I felt like this need of all this support. And I think the need that I felt from the support was when I was overwhelmed with life. So I really did need help. But generally, I felt like there was a lack of confidence that I had in myself to make decisions for myself when I turned 30. And I was like, where is this coming from? Like I was in therapy sessions, like going deep about like why I was feeling this way. Why was I feeling like I can't trust myself? Given like the life that I just had throughout my 20s, like I should really be like, oh bitch, we're just gonna keep this going. But recently I have been questioning all of this. Like I'm about to be 31 in November, and here's what I have realized in talking to myself and my other counterparts of friends. When you hit 30, the thing that people don't talk about as often is this need to like blow up your life. I turned 30 and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, do I even like my job? Do I like what I do? Am I making the right decisions investing? Am I doing this? And like, I really wanted to like burn it to the ground. Like when I tell y'all, I have been feeling like, well, I had been feeling like this year that I wanted to burn everything to the ground. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be an ambitious girly. I want to be at home in my house. I want to cook, I want to clean, I don't want to do anything. And I realized that being such an ambitious 20-year-old, and have always been, I was like really burnt out. Like I grinded super hard all throughout my 20s, and I'm still grinding now in my 30s. I'm not where I thought I was gonna be in my 30s. And while I'm not upset about where I am, I did think that I would be like in a different place at this very point. But I think it's because I'm also realizing that like this need to implode my, like like explode and blow up my whole life is because there is a life waiting for me to either decide to choose that life or stay in the one that I'm in. And that's something that a lot of people don't really talk about, is when you turn 30, you have to make a decision. Or for most people, this happens around 30. This could happen for you earlier, later, I don't really know. This is my personal experience. But turning 30 and then like talking to my other friends, I feel like I'm fighting between the life that I know that I've been living and wanting to live the life that I know that I dream to live, which is like, you know, being a traveler more often, and like not traveling for vacation, like traveling for work, like doing things that I love, creating experiences that bring people together, creating like really creative experiences, and also bringing like added value to a lot of spaces, whether it's like my job or my business, or just like I want to add value to this world. And I feel as if like right now in the stage that I'm at, I am not adding the value of what I would like to be doing. Like there's a part of me that knows that I have way more to offer, but in the current state of my life and how it operates, I cannot offer that, and I'm ready to start offering those things. And that was a realization moment of like, girl, you don't lack confidence. You're just in a phase of your life where things look a little different, they feel a little different, it's feeling like unstable ground. And for someone who is ambitious like me and other people that I know, you always have a plan. Like we always got a plan. For me personally, I don't always have the exact plan, but I know exactly what's next and what I want to do. Like when I started my career in my early 20s, I was working at a corporate firm in their events department. Then I left that firm and I went to grad school and got my master's in project management. Then I got a real project management job because that was like the natural progression. And I was like a project manager at a PR firm. Then I hated PR and I was like, you know what? I want to do something that's going to give back to the community. Child, don't know why I did that. But I did it because I wanted to feel as if my work was being valued. And I didn't necessarily feel that where I was. And I went to this school and I was a business operations manager I was a senior operations manager for a little bit. And then I became a business operations manager after that. I got promoted in 1 year. And I had a team of I went from a team of 3 to a team of, 6? And like basically running operations for a school for over a year with over 500 kids and being the person that runs the school from the operational standpoint. And I've always just had like a natural progression. And then to my job where I am now, it's like I decided that I didn't like the hours of the school job. Shout out to the teachers and like the operations people and everything that goes on at a school that y'all might know I used to work at. So I'm not gonna say the name, but bless y'all who are still there because it was a trap. But I will say that what I did learn working there is that I loved being in a leadership position. I loved training people. I loved developing people. And I think that's where I felt like my work was most valued. And I loved like that progression. But I really want to get back to events. And if you work in schooling or charter schools, you know that like in January, they ask you like, are you coming back next year or not? And they usually try to threaten you and be like, if you say yes and you don't come back, we're not giving you your bonus. So fucking crazy. But anyway, that's also be like illegal. They'll be like, we're not giving you your bonus. Or you can tell them, no, I'm not coming back. And if you decide to come back, you'll get your bonus, whatever. So like, or you could just say, I'm coming back, yes, and I get my bonus, whatever. I was so done with this job that in January, when they sent out the letter that was like, are you gonna come? Didn't care. Immediately, I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Immediately, no, because y'all were not gonna put me through what I went through this last year in terms of like the amount of time and commitment. Your life gets taken over by working in a school. And shout out to people who really you really have to love children and like love kids and like enjoy the work that you do working in a school, because that's what you're really doing it for. And while I loved the kids at the school, I felt like something was calling me back to events. So I decided to quit, no plan, early 20s Tay, doing whatever. And I landed a job from a connection that I had from when I was an intern when I was like 16. And I thought that this job has been like the biggest blessing for me, because it brought me back to events. Not only brought me back to events, but it brought me back to being like super, super grounded in events, like really learning like the basics of like, I knew I was always a logistical manager, but logistics on like a different level, specifically towards like the field that I wanted to be in. And I have forever loved my job. And I think it's a great job to have. I think it's like, I loved working on events. I love creating events. I love being a part of like an amazing team. And now it's been like 4 years, and now I'm at the stage where like I'm 30 and I'm like, oh shit, like I've been here for a while. Like what's next for me? Like, is it growing here? Is it doing something else? Like, what am I doing? I personally like love events. So like it would be very hard to move me from anywhere. But I think that's just for me naturally, like that's where I want to go with my life. And whatever decision I make in the next few years of what I want to do, like I know it will be the best one for me. But I will say that this ambitious Tay has finally reached a point where like now I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, this is all great. Like I'm doing really well. But you know, God has a very mysterious way of shaking shit up when you feel like things are going great and you're going at a level, and he's just like, you're a little too comfortable, girl. Like, we gotta switch it up here. And I had even like did a really big, I made a really big investment that I'll talk to you guys more when it comes out. I made a really big investment last year that should be coming out to fruition in this fall, which is gonna be super exciting. And I have been like planting seeds like the last few, like the last year or so to like, you know, push towards this life that I want to live. And because the ground feels so unstable, when you are an ambitious girl, sometimes you feel like you can't trust your own decisions because you don't know what's next. And my career has always been like a natural progression of what's next. And this is the first time that I've had to think about like, what's best for Tay? Like what's best for me? Like what is next for me? Because you like your job, you like what you do on the side, you love like, you know, I manage also a few apartments, random, whatever. I just do a lot of stuff. I love posting on socials. Like creating this YouTube video is probably going to be the highlight of my week, because I really do like talking on YouTube, creating on YouTube. I love creating vlogs. I do feel like I could bring more of myself like this in some of the vlogs that I post for like my vacations and stuff, which I'm gonna try to do more. The next trip is not until Italy, so that's a big one. We might have to do like a 2-part vlog on that, but that's gonna be a fun one. But I do think I can bring more of myself, but I do love content creation generally, and it's where I feel like really creative. So all this to say that I'm realizing that my lack in confidence is not actually a lack in confidence, it's a lack in like direction of where I'm going, because for the first time I have to make a decision that's not based on a bad feeling that I'm having, or making a decision on like, you know, I hate my job, or I don't want to be here anymore, things like that. I have to make a decision based on what I want for my life. And that is so scary, because it's like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what do you mean I have to make a decision that's gonna better my life? Like, my life is great. But like, I just know that when you get super comfortable in spaces, like you lack the growth that you really wanna see. And that's something I wanna see for myself. Like, I wanna grow, I wanna continue to develop. Like, being in your young 30s is like, you know, they say 20s is for grinding hard, 30s is for grinding smart. That's how I feel. I feel like it's an age where I really need to develop myself and like just create the life that I want to live by the time I'm 40. And I'm thinking about it really heavily at almost 31, because like this is a really important chapter and important phase in a lot of our lives. So I also want to take a step back to recognize that while I have been going along this journey of like figuring out what's next, I tend to, I wouldn't say overshare, but like talk to people to get their opinions on certain things. And every time I talk to someone who I trust, like I get great feedback. Sometimes I don't get good feedback. Sometimes it's like not what I was anticipating to hear. But I do feel as if like you really can't let people talk you out of your decisions in life, period. But like, especially when it comes to what you want for yourself in your career, because I do feel like when you sometimes speak to other people, like some of the feedback is great. Sometimes they don't deliver it that great, honestly. But sometimes, and they mean well, and it probably is good feedback, but because of the way it's delivered, it's not great. But sometimes people project their own insecurities on you, and they might think that you can't achieve this or you can't achieve that. And I feel like I've been encountering encountering that a lot, where I was asking for advice and like clarity and like trying to find some sort of mentor to like help and guide me through this phase of my life. And the mentors that I once had in my life, I wouldn't say they're not there anymore, but the reason why I know I'm leveling up is because the mentors that I did have are no longer really like my mentors, but more so like my peers. So it's like, where do you kind of go from there now when you're just like looking for direction? So this like me looking for direction and asking for advice has opened a door for people to like give me their opinions on what they think is best for me. And at the end of the day, I know that whatever is best for me is best for me. And if I make a decision and it's not the right one, well, I wouldn't say it's not the right one. I would say that whatever decision I make for myself is always going to be the right one, but maybe it's going to put me in a different direction than what I thought. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, and then I get redirected. But I think moving through life and trying to get constant advice from others instead of just focusing on what you want personally, yes, it might give you a little bit of comfort, but then it might actually not, depending on what those people actually think. And again, some of them don't think the things that you're trying to do are possible. And as someone who has a full-time job, like has my little like event stuff on the side, manages like multiple properties, started investing really young, and now is into like content creation, yes, I might be a little delusional, and that's why I was burnt out. But at the end of the day, like, people don't see your vision because they could never do your vision. They can never achieve that, and they can't make it that far. And I feel like the people that do have a lot of opinions could be people that don't really know how to do what you do. But then also, even if they do know what you do, and like, there's always space for like more. So all this to say, do not take advice with a super grain of salt, and remind yourself that like the decision that you're making is always going to be for you and not for them. So if they're not going to be there to support you, then they really were never for you. So if you make a decision and you feel like, okay, maybe I could have made this decision, and they throw it back in your face, bye. Those people are not meant to be in your life at all. So I truthfully have now transitioned into this part of the year where I don't know if it's the summer, I don't know if it's my hair, I don't know what it is, but I am doing a lot more work to really just realize that my confidence is still there, that 20s Tay is still there. And I'm only getting better and better and better as time goes on. But I have to remind myself that like, life is gonna life, and decisions are gonna be made, and they might not be perfect, but the only way for me to really get through it and figure it out is to go through it and make these decisions. So I need to be now more than ever more confident in myself, and more confident, and remind myself that like 20s Tay did it, and you can take it way even further. So just reminding myself that like, life goes on, things keep happening, and I'm a confident girl. Like, I can really, 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 really do it. And I did write this down because it's so funny. I do these vlogs and like, I write everything down, and then I forget that I wrote everything down to even say, and I never even look at my book ever. So maybe it's just like a technique that I use to like write everything down so it's already in my brain and I just say it out loud. But anyway, I wrote this down. I said, a reminder that a life shift and life changing does not mean that your confidence is depleting, but rather that things are changing and your greatest self is just waiting to be made. And it's true, like, you are someone who is constantly developing over time, and it is what it is. And in life, sometimes you like don't trust yourself to make decisions, but just remember that like, and I'm reminding myself when I say this too, that like, we made it this far. Like, we didn't make it this far for nothing. So if you're an ambitious girly like me, and you're looking around and people are like getting promoted, people are doing this, people are doing that, and you're just like, what the heck? Like, what am I doing with my life? Remind yourself that you made it this far on your own with the support of the people who love you, to say, and going and making it this far, you're gonna make it way further. And take a break, look at yourself. And even if you need to like take a break, I say that, I'm gonna circle back on that, because I do feel like a lot of us are super burnt out. Like, the ambitious girls some of us have hit 30 and we're like, oh, I wanna be a housewife. Trust me, the thought has crossed my mind several times, especially now that I have a boyfriend. I'm like, wow, it would just be nice for me to like stay home and cook and just like cancel everything. But I do know that I have a gift in this world, and whether it's to bring people together or to motivate people or just to be someone who is, you know, maybe a beam of light, maybe a star, maybe like a reminder to keep things going. I know that there's a greater purpose for me here, so I need to keep going going towards it. And it's okay for us if the ambitious girls need to take a break right now. It's okay for you to take 10. Give me 10, give me 10, give me 10. What did Melanie say? Give me 10, give me 10. It's okay if you need to take a 10 because, and if that's 10 weeks, 10 months, maybe not 10 years, but something, just a year, whatever you need, just to like really love on yourself and like pour into you and not have to give as much as yourself to like everyone else and start giving just that stuff to you while you figure this phase out. There's completely nothing wrong with that. Like there's nothing wrong with taking the break that you deserve. And I feel like in the next month or so, while you will see me posting on here and you will see me posting on Instagram and yada, 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 I'm consciously taking an effort to remind myself not to go too hard because as soon as the fall hit, it's going to be boots on the ground running for my life. And it's summer, so I just need a little break. We all need a little break. And I just want to remind y'all that your confidence is still there. You can do it. We're all gonna make it. It's gonna be great. But you just need a little reminder today. Just need a little reminder. So thank you for tuning in and watching if you've made it this far. I want you guys to stay with me. So like, subscribe, and follow on my page because depending on how this little video drop goes, like I want to see, like, tell me, like, what are you guys like concerned about? Oh, the girls in their 30s, like what is happening? What is happening to y'all? We also need to talk, I have a whole video about like our hormones like in our 30s. I hope, like, I know the boys didn't make it this far in watching this video. Maybe some of y'all did, maybe some of y'all didn't, but we know who we don't want here. Anyway, I would say that like hormones have also played a big part into why I was feeling the way I was feeling, because when you turn 30 or like in your late 20s, early 30s, what the fuck is going on with these hormones? I feel like the week before my period, I'm about to go into a mental psychosis. Like somebody check me into the facility because I have to sit there and remind myself that like this is all not real. This is all just hormonal imbalance that's happening right now. And I feel as if some of the ladies, we need to get it checked out. We need to go get some testing, figure out what's off, what vitamins we can take, because it does not impact me from making life decisions. It just impacts my my confidence. I don't know. Like I do feel like it does impact my confidence. It makes me feel as if like something's happening. Like I don't know what I'm doing. But I think with that, with the life shift and the heightened hormonal thing that happens around this age, because your body's like, you need to drop a baby, and you're like, no. Like for me, I'm like, no, can't do that, sis, right now. You gotta give me some more time. This phase is a combination of all those things. So like the feeling of your hormones being imbalanced, the feeling of like the life is shifting, things are changing, you don't know what's next, this like what the fuck phase. And the one thing that I obviously just like don't want people to think about is like the fact that it might impair us from making decisions. I don't think that's true. I just think that it does impact like how we feel about ourselves. And like I'm always gonna make the right decision for me, but like in this new phase that's going on in this here 30, like we have to make some big decisions. So anyway, thank you for joining again. If you've made it this far, like, subscribe, follow, share with someone, another girlie in their 30s, who maybe just share with all your girls in your 30s or late 20s or early, whatever, however you're feeling at this phase, because they could be going through something like this and you don't even know. So community and the girls is good to relate to. So comment in the box and let me know like what's going on in the 30s. How are you feeling? Do you feel like me right now, or do you feel like an overexertion of confidence? Like, and if you do, good for you, girl, because I need some of that. So thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.